Hi, this is Craig Stocks, and welcome to my photo critique of the day. As I've said before, I think listening to photo critiques is a great way to get some different insights and different thoughts about ways to approach your images. And I think that's true whether it's your image or someone else's. I think we always learn something anytime we dig into an image. Today's photo was provided by Natasha Tingle. So Natasha, thank you so much for providing the image. That obviously we can't do photo critiques if we don't have photos to work with. And this is a wonderful scene of three boys. I'm guessing they're brothers, just from the size and the body language and so forth. And they're in a tunnel of some sort, but great use of the environment to capture these boys backlit, but not completely silhouetted. If we zoom in, we can see the two younger boys. You can see that there is some light on their face, and it's kind of interesting light because it's reflecting off of the older boy in the center. So a good arrangement of the boys. I like the expressions on their faces and the fact that they're not just silhouettes, that you can see some detail there. This is a difficult lighting situation when you talk about scenes having a very long dynamic range from very bright to very dark, and she really has that here with a very bright sky back here, and then of course the very dark surroundings, and especially the ceiling of the tunnel. And looking at the histogram, she's done a real good job using the full range of the histogram. We have a lot of bright areas, but even if we look at it on a white background, these bright areas haven't gone to pure white. There's still a lot of detail and texture going on here. And if we look against a black background, there's some pure black up in the ceiling, but for the most part there's even still texture in the dark area. So in terms of handling exposure and the tones in printing, she's done, I think, a very good job of making the best use of the tones that she can. I also like her choice to do a black and white treatment on this. I'm not sure color would have really added anything, and by going to black and white, that really accentuates the graphic nature of the image, where we have these very strong leading lines from the boys' shadows leading into the boys, and we also have lines on either side leading into the boys, so all the lines are leading in, and then we have this frame within a frame, so the boys are framed within the end of the tunnel. That creates a nice framing element and just gives it an overall very pleasing feel. The horizon, if you look at it across the back here, is tilted a little bit. I'm not usually a fan of tilting the camera, sometimes called Dutching the camera, or using a Dutch angle, and that's a cinema term. But I tend to feel like unless there's a reason for it, I tend to like seeing a level horizon and verticals in the center of the frame. I'm not sure tilting it adds here, and one of the things that it does do, by tilting the frame the way she did in a counterclockwise rotation, these shadows that would have been at more of an angle become more straight in from the viewer. And generally, angled lines are considered a more dynamic or more powerful element of a picture than vertical or horizontal lines. So I think by keeping the image more leveled, that would have allowed these shadows to be at a little bit more of an angle and possibly give a little bit more of a dynamic feel. The other thing that I would suggest, and I don't know if you have other frames or if you have more room on the image and this was cropped, but I feel I'd like to see more space on the left-hand side and maybe even less space on the right-hand side. That we've got a lot of interesting information here and a lot of leading lines that are really directing the viewers in, and we really don't even get to the center of the frame before we get to the subject, and it kind of stops. So it feels like the subjects are crowded too far to the left-hand side of the frame. I did a little toying around with Photoshop by stretching out this left side of the frame, and what that does is move the boys more towards the center, and then I also leveled the horizon a little bit, so that gives us a little bit more angle on the shadows. And we could even look at cropping this just a little bit, maybe down from the top and over from the right, so that we now move the subject over to the right side of the frame. And I feel like this gives us a little bit better balanced feeling image, because we can now have all of this texture and lines leading us all the way across the frame and up to the what would be kind of the top right quadrant of the frame where the main subject is. we still have the frame within a frame here, and then the framing elements of the dark around here, so that the eye follows in here, comes to the subject, and it hits kind of a hard stop because it doesn't want to go out into this black area. But those are kind of picky ideas. You may have different feelings or different ideas, so if you do, please feel free to share those in the comments. But overall, I think Natasha captured a great moment here, good use of the environment, good use of black and white, and captured great expressions and good timing to capture the three boys there. So Natasha, thank you for offering to share your image with us, and I would encourage others to follow suit. Just send me a Facebook message with your image, and I'll be happy to put it in the rotation. And beyond that, thanks everybody, and have a great day.